two sisters.
This is Melissa. I'm Dawn. This is part 2 of Summerslam Axxess 2012.
If you haven't watched part 1, which will be uploaded before this, you can kind of watch them separately, but part 1 has the countdowns, tells you everybody we met, a little more of the details. This is going to be, we had a lot of moments that we didn't want to put on one really long video.
And we can't really pick one person for Priceless Person, and there was like a really moment, and there was a new category, and there's like more stuff that we wanted to tell, so we couldn't put it all on one episode, so we broke it into 2.
Right, so this is part 2. First off, let's start off with the Priceless People.
Priceless. Oh, baby, I'm priceless.
Alright, this is Priceless Person number 1
of Summerslam Axxess 2012.
This person is Justin Gabriel. I know he was it last year, but he's also it this year. He was saying it was Tyson Kidd, not saying that Tyson Kidd isn't priceless.
But this moment happened with just Justin, so that's why we just gave it to him. Tyson was nice and great as always, but this
adorable.
This was
a moment was
just Justin.
We went to the handicap line, and they put us right next to the stage, and
there was a humongous speaker right there, so everything that was happening in the ring was being broadcasted through the speaker.
There. And as a person that doesn't have a hearing problem, it was hard to hear a little bit. But for someone like, for someone like her that has a little bit of a hearing loss and she was wearing a hearing aids, it amplifies the sound. So she had more trouble hearing with the speaker right there. So,
and one of the things that I'm so self-conscious about is my hearing aids, and she knows, try not to mention it or whatever. But it is hard, in that kind of situation. And, even though I had my aids in or whatever, the sound was so close to my ear. And the type of hearing loss that I have, it makes it hard for me to hear other types of things, even with my aids in that kind of environment.
And so Justin came down, and he came up to me. He came right up to me, and he, shook my hand. He's like, "Hi, how are you?" I'm like, "I'm good, you?" And he's like, "I'm fine." And he, signed the sheets, and he turned to her, and he went to go, he said something. I don't remember exactly what he said. And, I looked to Melissa for her to answer, and she just, had this panic look on her face, and I was like, "Hold on," and he's like, "Okay." So I was praying, leaning forward trying to talk to her, and she wasn't responding. I was putting my hand up to hear her microphone on her hearing aid. A lot of times she has a microphone, and if you put your hand up to it, you can hear it squeak. And I was like, okay, when I hear the squeak, I know how close you have to be for her to hear you, and I couldn't even hear it. So at that moment, whatever was happening in the ring stopped, and I heard it, and she's like, "Okay, we're good." And at that moment, Justin went to speak again, and it came back.
It was like someone was yelling in the ring. It's a very panic type of feeling when you know someone's talking to you, and you cannot hear what they're saying. And I literally just kind of looked at him, and I was embarrassed because, it's embarrassing, and then on top of it, all the stuff you just saw her messing with my hearing aids and all this stuff, and now I can't hear him. It's embarrassing. It's also kind of a panic moment, and I looked at him and I looked at her, and I'm trying to figure out what he said to me, and I was really kind of panicked. I was like, oh my god, I can't hear him, and then, but he did the coolest thing because she was gonna jump in.
Because whatever happened in the ring stopped, and he went to shake her hand again, and he spoke, and the moment he spoke is when he started speaking again in the ring, and she couldn't hear him, and he smiled, and he leaned forward closer to her ear and spoke again, and her face lit up, and it was just okay, she heard him that time.
It was because I had looked over to her because I was expecting her to, we know a little bit of sign language, so I was expecting her to sign to me what he had said, and the moment I look over, I hear this voice right outside my ear, and all I heard was, "Hey darling, how are you?" And I literally was just like, oh, it was the cool, it's very hard to understand if you don't have a hearing loss, what it's like to be in a situation like that, and then to hear it. And for him to go, a lot of people will make jokes, they'll be like, what, and they're, it's kind of embarrassing and stuff like that, but he didn't make a joke, he wasn't a jerk about it, he went out of his way to lean forward and to make sure I heard him, and apparently my face said it all, because I immediately was like, I'm fine, I was so excited.
The moment she did it, she was like, I'm fine, and his face lit up, he smiled, and he was just nothing but smiles. He was smiling.
For the rest of the meeting, he made sure that he was right outside my ear, and he was talking, and he made sure that I could hear him. And I think he might have said something to Tyson, because when Tyson came over, that was the first thing Tyson did. Was Tyson got right up to my ear and was like, "Hey, sweetie," and I was like, "Hi." Like it was just a really
cute.
bad booth because they put the speaker right there, and I have a particular type of hearing loss, and I'm very ashamed of my hearing aids or whatever, but it definitely made me feel very special that they went out of their way to make sure I could hear them.
It was totally cute.
So that would make why Justin Gabriel is our priceless person.
Priceless. Oh, baby, I'm priceless.
Okay, this is Priceless Person number 2. This person is no one other than the awesome one, The Miz. We went to lunch, and to see they had the text messaging thing that told you who's gonna be there, and it said The Miz was gonna be there. And I'm a big Miz fan, so I told Melissa and Shauna we have to meet The Miz. And we went straight to that booth, and it was really stupid. They handed out the security at handicap line so that only Melissa could go in, that she can't bring anyone, which I'm like, anyways. So me and Shauna had to get in line, and we waited like an hour to go up to meet The Miz, and I told Shauna that I wanted to say the certain thanks to The Miz, and we've been trying to lose weight, and Axxess was a big inspiration to go, and I've used Miz as an inspiration alone, and I told Shauna, I'm like, I want to say this, and Shauna's like, okay, rehearse it on me. And the last time I met The Miz, I couldn't even talk to him. I was way as it goes. I couldn't even walk up to him by myself. I was just, horrible, and here I am trying. I had to go up there by myself. I had to do this, and it was really great because I got to the top step, and the person from me went off, and I waited until Miz turned around, and he waited for me to come up, and I went straight up to him, and I stood toe to toe with him, and I was like, I want to say thank you for inspiring me to lose weight. I've lost 40 pounds right now, and I just want to say thank you. And he's like, congrats, you look amazing, and I'm like, oh my god, thank you, and I'm like, he was just nothing but flattery, and like his blue eyes and everything, and I was just like blushing, and it was just adorable, and he's like, but how am I inspiring? And I was like, well, I was trying to lose weight by Axxess, and you were one of the reasons why I want to lose weight, because you were going to be here, and all this stuff, and he's like, oh, that's awesome, he's like, you look amazing, and I was like, thank you, and I'm like, may I hug you? And he's like, yeah, come on here, sweet, and I like hugged him, and we went to go get the picture, and he's like, here, why don't you hold the belt, you're a champion in my eyes, and I was like, oh my god, and I was like, you're so cute, and like, he helped me put the belt on, and I was like, this is amazing, and like, I gave him the belt back, and I got the stage, so Sean would come him, and it was just awesome because I love The Miz, and he didn't have to say what he had to say, and he was nothing but cute and adorable, and I went back and told Melissa, I was like, Melissa, you won't believe what he said, and...
Well, I mean, and one of the things, I was waiting for my turn, because I went up afterwards, one of the things that kind of, why he's a priceless person is also, something that might not be a big deal to someone else, it might not be a big deal to him that we lost, she lost 40 pounds, whatever, but he didn't treat it like, oh, no big deal.
Yeah.
He really, he did. He treated it as important as it was in your life, and important as it is to you, and important as it is to me and stuff. He treated it that way, and that was the coolest thing, is the fact that he made it that much, and he was very supportive, and that was just a really cool thing, and that's The Miz,
I was just so happy, like, even now I'm kind of like, it was an awesome experience, and it was just great, and I loved every minute of it, but, like, even now I'm kind of like, I should have said something different, but I'm like, I'm trying to learn to cope with it.
I'm going to turn this camera off and beat you if you don't shut up about that. It was
Okay.
a great moment.
Alright, anyway.
Write messages. Tell her it was a great moment. Write messages. Leave comments. Tell her it was a great moment, people.
But anyway.
That
so,
was Priceless Person.
Number 2. What? Yeah, 2. Yeah.
She talks about The Miz and she just loses it.
Yes,
It was
I do.
Priceless Person number 2.
Really? Really?
This is the really,
Really?
really,
Really?
really
Moment of Summerslam Axxess 2012.
The really moment belongs to the handicap security of the line, because they were ridiculous.
I don't mind if you want to limit something. I don't mind. But every single booth had a different story.
Like,
and it was very annoying because, I mean, to me, it really didn't seem like a big deal because it was only me, her, and her friend. There were only 3 of us. We were taking one picture all together, except for Mason, because Mason was the one that insisted we take it separate ones. But it was like, you would go to one booth, and they'd be like,
oh, okay, all 3 of you can go
all 3 of you can go in. You go to another booth, oh, only you can go in. You go to another booth, only one person. And it was like, at least have some consistency. Because if you have some consistency, then it's like, okay, if we, only one person, okay, then we could have figured out a way to do this.
Yeah.
Or only whatever. But it was just like, it was like the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. And it was really frustrating. And then with The Miz,
we went up there and like, oh, only she could go in. And my thing about that is like, she's on Twitter. She can't carry a camera. She can't carry an autograph sheet. She can't really carry anything besides what's in her pockets, And I'm like, if it's a kid? Like, if it's a kid that needs an adult, you tell me that you won't let a kid go in with a parent?
Well, the thing that really made me the mad was because I was like, okay, I volunteered to sit out. I sat out there for an hour by myself, and then halfway through they decided to start letting people in.
We were literally, like, in the last turnstile to left to meet The Miz. I looked up and they were letting, like, families in. They were letting groups in to meet
with the handicap line, and it's like, well, we could have saved the whole hour, but no, because, and so what we had to do was, after they made through, they came out and got me, and then I took Dawn in with me so I could meet The Miz.
Even when we went up there was a group of, like, a family of 3 or 4, and 4 was like, oh, you can only bring 1 person in. I'm like, dude, there's a family of 4 up here.
And the thing was that family of 4, all of them could walk. And at one point, the lady comes down and she goes, how many of you can go up on stage to meet The Miz? And it's like, if they can go up on stage, why are they in the handicap line? Like, that doesn't make no sense to me. Like, I could not make it up the steps.
Like, I get it if you, like, are hearing impaired or
something like that, but these people they were not impaired at all. I don't know how they got in. I think the one girl said she had a lung transplant. I don't know. But, they were not, visually they were not impaired at all. And there was a whole family of them. And it's like, how are you, I mean, I don't really care. But it's like, if you can't make it up the steps, if you can make it up the steps, why are you, my thing is be consistent. I understand limiting how many people per whatever. Disneyland does that.
Yeah.
But to limit, to every time there's a different story, it's kind of like, well, what the, at least be consistent.
At least, like, tell us in advance, okay, the handicap, like, you can only bring 1 person in or 2 people, and that way we know, okay, let's do it this way. Or we can decide, okay, let's go meet The Miz, let Donnie go and meet The Miz with Melissa, and then we'll come back and bring Chandra in, or we'll figure something out, It was frustrating.
It was more frustrating. I mean, it definitely didn't ruin the day. I mean, we definitely had a great day anyways. It didn't ruin anything, but it definitely was just like, it was frustrating because it was like, you just never knew.
Yeah.
And then if they would say only 1 person or only whatever, it's like we had to redo everything to figure it out.
And we had to talk about, okay, who's going to go and who's not going to go and what's going to happen.
But, I mean, it didn't ruin the day, but it was definitely just like a really? And that's our really moment of SummerSlam Axxess 2012.
I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke.
Okay, this is a new segment. We're probably not going to do it much often, but
only when we see it and we feel the need to address it.
But it's called Ring
Rat of the Week. You've all been there. You've all seen them. I'm sure if you've been to a wrestling event, you've seen them. And we've all on the internet community, they're called ring rats. I'm not gonna describe them. I'm not gonna say which superstar. I'm just gonna tell you the moments that there was a young lady, a girl at Axxess who definitely
obviously
was there for ulterior motives. Like, it was very obvious she was definitely trying to get
and Stars' pants.
It was pretty obvious. There was one superstar that he seemed. It was kind of hard to tell. Like, she was definitely laying on the charm. We know this because we were actually like right behind her.
Yeah.
But she was definitely laying on the charm,
yeah,
and she was definitely.
I couldn't really read that superstar
very well. I
wasn't sure how he was feeling.
I wasn't really sure how he was taking it, but she was trying. And like, she was hanging out like around that booth, like trying to get to him. I don't know.
I don't know what happened, or.
But and then but it was funny because we ran into her at a couple booths later, and she was trying to charm the security guy to let her in to the handicap area, and security flat out was like, "No, go get in line," and she didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
And then
she got to the superstar before we were able to meet.
She got up to the superstar, and that superstar just basically shut her down.
Yeah.
Like, he was not buying it, but
And the best part was the French was like, denied! And it was
I mean,
like hilarious.
we're
like,
jerks. We're jerks. We didn't say that to her face, but it's kind of like, if you're gonna, you know, if we see you, if we, you know, I mean, it's like, try to be subtle a little bit. Like, I guess I'm just like, you know, there's a difference between doing it privately when you're sitting at the bar at the hotel or something, than doing it at Axxess in front of everybody. If you're gonna do it in front of everybody, it's kind of like, well, then I have a right to call you out on it. But yeah, so she tried. I don't know if she got anything.
I give you applause for trying.
Yeah, I'll give you applause for trying. I mean, you know, you got a lot of guts, lady. You did it right there in front of everybody, so you must think you got some game. And hey, I don't know. Maybe she does. Who knows? I don't know if she got anywhere. But, you know, that lady is our ring rat of the week.